It is my great honor to welcome you here today on the eve of the second Africa Climate Summit, which officially begins tomorrow, 8 September 2025, here in Addis Ababa at this International Convention Center. In just a few hours, this city, Addis Ababa, Africa's diplomatic capital, will host heads of state and governments, ministers, youth leaders, private sector actors, civil society, and our international partners. Together, they will chart Africa's climate future under the theme Accelerating Global Climate Solutions, Financing for Africa's Resilient and Green Development. This is not just another meeting. It is a defining moment for Africa. Africa is disproportionately affected by climate change, contributing less than 4% of global emissions, and yet bearing some of its harshest impacts. At the same time, Africa is home to extraordinary potential, the youngest population in the world, vast renewable energy resource, and innovative communities driving locally rooted solutions. Over the next 3 days, Africa Climate Summit 2 will focus on two key priorities. First, showcasing Africa-led solutions in renewable energy, adaptation, green growth, and nature-based resilience. And two, unlocking climate finance by pushing for fair, predictable, and scaled-up resources for Africa's priorities. The summit is expected to deliver several major outcomes. The first one is the adopted Addis Ababa Declaration, presenting a unified African voices ahead of COP30 in Brazil and beyond. A strong call for a global finance reform and grant-based finance flow and investment commitment to accelerate Africa's resilient and green development is another expected outcome. Stronger partnerships between innovators and investors, ensuring that African solutions receive the global backing they deserve, is another outcome. Most importantly, the unified voice of Africa and global influence and leadership is another outcome. And finally, the flagship report of the African countries and organizations is also another expected outcome of the second African Climate Summit. Ladies and gentlemen, the summit's program reflects the urgency of the moment. The high-level leaders summit and fireside chats to special sessions on nature-based solutions and energy, food systems, adaptation, and finance. Each discussion will drive us closer to turning commitment into action. In the days leading up to Africa Climate Summit 2, Ethiopia also had the honor of hosting the UNFCCC Climate Week 2025, held from 1 to 6 September here in Addis Ababa, same venue. Climate Week brought together governments, experts, and stakeholders to focus on implementation and practical solutions, including the dialogue on addressing Africa's circumstances and needs. The insights and technical momentum from Climate Week now flow directly into African Climate Summit 2. While Climate Week focused on dialogue and solutions design, Africa Climate Summit 2 is the space for political will, financial commitment, and continental leadership for a global impact. Together, Climate Week and the Second Africa Climate Summit form a bridge from ambition to implementation. Ladies and gentlemen, this week has already seen the successful conclusion of pre-summit events, from the Africa Youth Climate Assembly 2025 to Climate and Development in Africa Conference to the Non-State Actors Forum and consultations of the Africa Group of Negotiators. These forums have ensured that when leaders meet tomorrow, they do so informed by the voices of young people, civil society, scientists, and experts from across the continent. Ladies and gentlemen, Africa Climate Summit 2 is where ambition meets action. Leadership will test a new place. Africa's leadership will test a new place at global stage. The message from Ethiopia, from Africa, and from all our partners is clear. Yes, Africa is a victim of climate change, but it is also providing climate solutions. But we cannot do this alone. We need global solidarity, fair finance, and genuine partnership and investment to ensure that Africa's resilience becomes the world resilience. Ladies and gentlemen, all the necessary preparatory work is finalized. Over 25,000 leaders and delegates have registered, and those who have already arrived at Addis Ababa are collecting their badges at this International Convention Center through Gate 8. All details of the program, including the high-level opening sessions, are prepared. A draft Leaders Addis Ababa Declaration has been under consultation with the AU member states. 49 mandated events under the auspices of the host country, Ethiopia, and the convener of the Africa Climate Summit 2, Africa Union Commission, are well crafted and uploaded in our Africa Climate Summit 2 website. 199 official side events are also submitted by AU member states, regional and international organizations, development partners, CSOs, private sectors, academia, youth and women-led organizations, and community-based organizations, among others. 23 pavilions are completed and ready to receive their visitors from tomorrow. More than 43 exhibitors, primarily from the private sector, including e-vehicle manufacturers and assemblers, solar product manufacturers and importers, innovators, entrepreneurs, and research and development solution providers are participating and strategically located at an outdoor exhibition at the convention center. The 3-day pre-summit event, including the Africa Youth Climate Assembly 2025, Non-State Actors Assembly, the 13th Conference of Climate Change and Development, Coalition of Finance Ministers, has been taking place for the last 3 days from 5th to 7th September. All these preparatory efforts will ensure a seamless and impactful summit over the next 3 days. I warmly invite all media representatives to explore the programs available on our website and to take time to engage around the venue. We would greatly appreciate your wide coverage of the sessions organized for the Africa Climate Summit 2. Dear media representatives, tomorrow, as we open the summit, we invite you to play your vital role. Share the stories, spotlight the solutions, and help ensure that Africa's message reaches the global stage. From tomorrow to Wednesday, 10th of September, you are encouraged to focus on the key priorities of the Africa Climate Summit 2 and cover what the Africa-led climate solutions look like and what is lacking to meet the ambitions Africans are creating, while reminding the world the right place for climate solutions is here in Africa. Please note that our communications team is ready to support you in providing the necessary information and guidance. Feel free to visit here, our office, if you need any guidance or support in your delivery. We look forward to welcoming you tomorrow at the official opening at the 2nd Africa Climate Summit 2. I thank you.